Hear the world calling, but son, don't you listen. They're only trying to drag you back into prison. That's right.
Welcome back to What Have You. I'm Rachel Jankovic.
I'm Becca Merkel.
We accidentally started with a moment of silence there.
Which is unusual for us, actually.
Well, we took a whole week of silence this last time.
You know, we've got to stop introing every one of them with an apology.
Sorry, we skipped being here.
Well, I was traveling
I just think it's like current events. Current events is that we recorded most of an episode and then found out I had not been recording for like half of it. And then there was no other time left in which to do it.
Because we were breaking out of our normal mold because it was Rachel's soup night. And so she couldn't leave the house. So I came and sat in her kitchen.
We were indoors.
Yeah, we've never tried that before. We were in the house. I personally think it messed up our
vibe.
But
it might have been that. It might have been that I was having to check on the pumpkin cake and run to the pantry.
Yeah, there were a lot of interludes where I was like, guys,
talk to yourself, Becca. I'm off.
She's in the pantry. But anyway,
it wasn't worth listening.
It didn't. No, it was actually quite bad, and then it turned out it wasn't recorded anyway. So I think it was all for the best.
Very little grief on our part.
And then I left town. So we're back now. We're more determined than ever to stay on track.
Yeah, but this is a little delayed in response because of our problems. But there was a question about Halloween. How is this not just the slugs in the salad thing? Like how many?
I should clarify. I think it was it in the same episode, or was it at least within one or two? We were saying
about entertainment
standards.
Why
would you persist when there are slugs all over the salad? And it was a very good question.
It's a great
was
question.
Why is there anything redeemable?
I actually wanted to clarify something about it because I have multiple things to say about this. I have friends in the UK and in France who have said that Halloween is like not even on the table for them as Christians about how would you celebrate this because it is so badly pagan, gross, horrible there, and the U.S. is hot on the heels of that. We are coming along quickly, and I actually think that for years what we have done with the kids is they're basically in a passel of cousins having a cousin party, and they get candy, and periodically it's like you're going past a lonesome little zombie on the street, but it was a whole group of kids having very much their own event. That. And this year, we went to the downtown one for the first time. We've never done that, and it's in daylight. It's like going to the businesses downtown, and
sure.
I did not. Which just sounds really funny, but I did not foresee how much we would not like that at all and would not do that again. We're like, that's enough of that. And I think it's because even in the last, 10 years, Halloween has gotten way, way worse here.
Yeah.
Can you pause it, you think?
Can I?
Yeah.
We have a visitor, guys.
Pause it.
Oh, we paused and we resumed.
Woo, look at us go. So anyways, my point is that it was very different because there were hundreds of people there being nincompoops about Halloween. Like there was plenty of gross, there were things that was like, wait a minute, we are not dominating this situation in any way. Like,
sure.
Why do we want to be part of this? Like, we don't want to be part of it. And so actually what I would just say is that this, to the person who asked that question, in a slightly different circumstance than we have been in, we would not, we're probably more on the same page than it.
And I would add a couple things. One is, I totally agree with that. Depending on where you are, there's all sorts of things we would never even dream of participating in.
My friend in France, hi Laura, since you're probably listening, said that I think they tried to do it their first year in France, but it was so gross. And they have a neighbor doing large scale displays with raw meat. Where it really is just gruesome and disgusting, and what is wrong with you people?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I agree with that. So probably much of it depends on your context. We live in a town where there are a lot of Christians, And we
we
have
have most like
and we have
tons
our
of
own
Christian kids.
We have our own fall carnival where everyone is a Christian who comes.
Where basically
there's
if
that.
someone comes as a skeleton, everyone's like, what got
are you
into
doing?
you?
But I would also add one more thing, though, which is that in the same way that we would be very careful, like let's say that there was a movie that was, if you could get it on clear play and delete that one scene, it's actually quite a good movie, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, let's say that we did that. We would never then go out and blanket recommend the movie without saying, to
Totally.
be clear, it's important. And I feel the same way about Halloween. We would never just blanket say, we
No,
love Halloween.
Do it. It's awesome.
We have to have all the
Yeah.
writers and qualifications and things. But the other thing I would say is that there are times when the one slug ruins the whole salad. It's true. And there's other times when
Don't you dare throw out the salad.
you plunder the Egyptians. You take
I was gonna say
you take
if
what's
the
valuable
world-
and you leave and you reclaim it.
right.
Like,
And I would say though that the fight over Christmas is the kind where Christians may not just walk away from it.
Sure.
Because the world got worldly about
Yeah.
it or something. Like you're like,
Yeah.
no, sorry, you can't have
it's
that.
kind of like all
you
right,
may
let's
not.
change the metaphor. It's not a slug in a salad now. It's pests on a fruit tree. Don't cut the tree down. Just deal
Right,
with the pests.
but I would say that we don't think Halloween is
not
precious
there.
enough
No.
to fight over, and I actually think it is falling increasingly in the category of things that you're not. That it's like if it is clear that this is not a winning Christian battle,
Right.
who is that guy? Because I did enjoy it. His little everyone I'm sure has seen it on the internet. I believe
didn't
he's
like
a British
that
guy.
one.
No, but I enjoyed. What I'm trying to say is I enjoyed him and his effort. But I did not like the moral of the story.
No, I didn't
I
either.
thought that he was making a running start at trying to be like, why can Christians enjoy Halloween? But then I thought he just really gave away the whole shop because no, we don't go pretend to be the bad guys just for a little bit of. It's not like you get your 5-minute timer. Like if you make that ugly face for too long, it'll get stuck. Like, but make sure you take off your gruesome mask at the end of the evening.
And I also
didn't. I was like, wait, that doesn't hold up.
No, and even if I will just say one of the things I haven't watched it in a long time, so I hope I'm
And it's been
accurately
over a
representing
year
it.
that I've seen
But
it.
his defense of it is kind of like, this is how we mock the enemies of Christ.
But we're not mocking. We're
dressing up and eating candy about
It's
it.
not
It's
making
not
fun of
mockery.
them.
And the other thing is, let's say we were mocking them. That's actually specifically forbidden in Scripture. So we shouldn't be doing that either. It's like
There's a
that's-
few reasons.
There's one of the things is
What
we're
I think I
told,
liked
isn't it
about-
in the book of Jude that even the archangel Michael, when he was bringing an accusation against Satan, did not revile him, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." And if the archangel Michael isn't gonna make fun of the principalities and powers, then we had better not.
Best not
And
go
we
after
had better
it.
not let our 7-year-olds do it either.
Yeah, no, it's not the thing to do. It's not to taunt or to tease the enemy in that
so
way.
if we institutionalized a annual day in which we
Spit upon the enemy.
disobey the book of Jude, I would say let's not.
The thing that struck me at the with the downtown one is that what we had done there's a lot of love, like there's something really fun about what we have done for many years. Like, and I
Sure.
know it's been a sweet thing for our kids where we're just on a walk in the fall evening and they're running up to assorted doors where our normal neighbors are answering the doors and giving them candy.
Yeah.
And occasionally someone is more into it than the next person, but it's not a particularly there, it was just we were in a little suburb walking around to see the normal people come say,
And
"Oh, hi, happy Halloween."
I
Here's your
will
candy."
say that when we lived in the UK, we never did Halloween because it was such a. Also, where we were, trick or treating was really not a thing.
Yeah.
The only people who were trick or treating were actually out to cause mayhem in the. Well,
Yeah.
actually do it. So we just didn't ever participate then, but. I would just say much depends on where you live.
Yeah, but so that was the thing, is that was typically how it was. When we took the kids downtown, it was way more like, now you have to play by other people's rules.
Yeah.
And here's the woman dressed inappropriately, sitting out front. Like, why would we send our little boys to be like, see that lady right there in that completely inappropriate ensemble? Please go over to her and ask her for candy. Like, what? We're just like, good heavens.
Yeah.
No. So basically, I think, but this ties in with, we were going to talk about holidays, and they are fast approaching.
Faster than I'm ready for.
Christmas is tomorrow.
Well, Thanksgiving is next week. So
This afternoon, actually, probably. The way things are going.
it is happening, guys.
It is upon us.
We're on
I will
it.
tell you my big hot tip if you do a big Thanksgiving. We're hosting it this year, which doesn't feel very different, but it is different.
Yeah.
It's at Mom's house, so it feels like the same thing that we've done, but it's a little different. But last year we had a ton of people. I think this is one of my best, most exciting tips. I might be overly pleased about this, but we had a lot of people. And so, like, how many do you think did we have? 50?
I have no idea.
50 something? So, well, because it was Heather's family. It was all here.
Oh, that's right.
So there was a lot of, we had a big old group.
That was fun. Yeah, that was great.
So, but in that big group, one of the crises of a big Thanksgiving is the leftovers, because it's hard to have leftovers when we're talking in terms of 50 people.
Right.
And then B, everyone is bringing different parts of the meal, which means that if you only take your own leftovers,
I know, how disheartening.
you either might not have any.
It's like I get to go home with
What am I gonna do?
a little bowl of cranberry sauce.
Yeah, you're like, oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad the pie all got it eaten.
Because I think
a solid half of the fun of Thanksgiving is the leftovers.
and the pie for breakfast is a very important piece of that.
I don't eat it for breakfast, but I like to have it lingering.
No, it's like if you're up late,
A little cold pumpkin pie.
be
never
able to
hurt
be
anybody.
like, hey, let's go have a piece of
Ooh,
pie.
you know what we
and
have?
then in the morning,
Pie.
a
Yeah.
cold apple pie with a hot cup of black coffee is basically heaven. It just is.
So this is what I bring this lesson around to say. Last year we decided to intentionally plan Thanksgiving so that everyone had a lot of leftovers, and we bought a bunch of disposable pans and things to pack leftovers. So the volumes of food that we had, we really intentionally overshot how much we needed by a long way, so that we could pack full tinfoil pans of assorted leftovers, touching all of the bases.
Which is good, because I think, like, when I have hosted Thanksgiving before, it's great because I'm the one that gets to have all the leftovers the next day. Of course, you kill yourself the week of, but then you have all the leftovers. But when you go to somebody else's house, you have the glory of not having to cook the whole dinner. But then
it's a downer.
It is a downer.
And you're like, there's not even a turkey carcass on hand. Like, you feel like there should be some of that.
Yeah, you should.
So last year, I don't know how many turkeys we had. It seemed like a truckload of turkeys. And right now, Winco's doing their free turkey with every $100. So I just keep getting more free turkeys.
Well, I would just say, though, here we are. We've got a nice clean week and a slosh before Thanksgiving comes. And I think it'd be a great time for everybody to stop, drop, and think about how they're going to be tempted next week. Because
that sounds like the kind of preparation we so seldom do.
Because we prepare in so many other ways. It's like we start thinking about how many dishes we have to have, right? And how many.
We want to know who's selling fresh cranberries.
And we do all the grocery lists and we assign the duties. But do we think through
everything but the important things?
All the ways.
We get it all done.
Like, are you going to be tempted to be rigidly polite to the one person who won't offer to help?
Oh, my word. Yeah.
Are you going to be passive aggressive and insist on having it be your recipe?
Oh, is that the green beans you made?
Oh, I see. You like to use the pre-canned ones.
Oh, I myself never buy anything that Marie Callender does.
Interesting that I always use fresh ingredients.
I'm a from scratch kind of a person.
When I make pie,
if you're not,
I try to do a good job. I don't go to Sherry's.
One of my
and buy
spiritual
one of those.
gifts. One of my spiritual gifts is non-lumpy mashed potatoes. Have you ever heard of a potato ricer? What? We're not recommending you do this.
No.
I also would like to say that that's not the way that I would be inclined to be tempted on Thanksgiving.
No, some people are though. But also,
Personally,
there's
I can look a lot more towards the general, why do you have to have a sock at this time feeling. Who among you thought you should eat
stressing
breakfast
out
here?
about the cleanliness of the house in such a way that nobody has any fun.
Yeah, no, that's so easy to do because that acting like, I've always thought this is just a good mental image. Getting your house ready for what? You know, you're like hustling around getting ready. It's not like Jesus is going to come to the door and not know what happened before he got there. Because he was there. That's the big secret right there. He already knows how you handled it.
Well, what is the story of Grandpa Jim's about when he went out of the house and shut the door too strongly because he was flourishing some statement that he had made, and it knocked the plaque off the wall that said something like, "Love happens here," or something. Like, it had like a Bible verse on it or something.
It wouldn't have been "Love happens here."
This family,
whatever
like,
it was probably
it was some kind of forgiveness and love Bible verse.
Was it at their house?
Yes, and how he left in a bit of a flounce and shut it too hard and heard
that
the
fell
crash,
off?
and he had to come back in and pick it up, and it brought on conviction of sin.
Smote his conscience.
Because I think he was on his way out to perform a Bible study.
Oh yeah,
or some
perfect.
thing.
So the thing that I think is, it's so funny when it's like, I just need to have everything, or as one of my friends told me, like this compulsion to have everything ready in case someone came to your front door and could see through the window that your house was not in order. And we were laughing about like, but you do know that Jesus doesn't have to sneak onto your front porch to check how you're doing. He can hear it all. He can see it all. And so one of the things that I think of from time to time with hospitality is that simple thing of, Lord, be my guest. Like, and actually saying it, like, be my guest, in that I, like,
in the preparations
in
also.
the preparation, like expecting that Jesus is actually there with you and knows how you're handling this bumpy terrain of gravy prep.
And he values your gentle and quiet spirit through holiday preparation.
Way more than a well-executed holiday dinner.
Than the pressed tablecloth.
Yes, and also the thing that I love about that simple, Lord, be my guest, is that is exactly what he says he is when we show hospitality to the stranger. You are doing it to him. When we are kind to the person who threw up on our floor, we are kind to him. You know, like when we are patient with people, we're being, you know, like this is all things that we're doing unto the Lord. And I just think it is a good thing to keep in mind when the tension is developing.
Well, and the other thing, too,
which it's likely to do,
is I feel like the holidays are a funny time because most of the rest of the year, when we show hospitality or we entertain, it is friends or more distant people. The holidays, it brings together usually
obligations,
those who are closer to you in many ways. But in some ways, the fact that they're closer to you, it could be that they're actually quite far from you in other ways. Like they're related to you, but you don't have much in common or whatever. It can bring a different challenge, a different entertaining challenge than when you have your best friends over for a dessert or something. That can be one problem. We actually, thankfully, we don't have that problem, which is nice. But it is definitely a time of complications for people,
like,
and
things.
And if these are people, like for us, these are people that we love and see all the time, or it's my kids, they're around the house all the time, we should think about showing hospitality to them too, and not making it the miserable time they dread, because here we go again with having to celebrate thankfulness.
I still remember one of my friends in college saying, it was a guy. How could you tell? It was a guy, but he said, I love Thanksgiving. He said, it is the best holiday because all you do is eat, and then you eat, and then you like take a nap. And then you get up and you just eat some more. And you eat. And his whole explanation of what goes on in Thanksgiving was so nothing like my experience of Thanksgiving, where I was like, what?
Interesting.
That is not what this holiday is. What this holiday is like the back of your legs aching the night before because you can't, like all of the on your feet prep and shenanigans and another run to the grocery store because you forgot that other pivotal thing.
Trying to figure out where you'll store the brining turkey.
Yeah, like who does this? Who thought of this terrible idea? And comparing spatchcocked turkey recipes for no good reason because you already know you have to make 4 turkeys, but you just get deep in it. I do love isn't it Rick Rogers?
Yeah, it's real
Thanksgiving
good.
101 is a great cookbook.
William Sonoma had it.
And
amazing.
It's really good. It's just he has like a full selection of different recipes.
And I really like it when you read a cookbook and you learn more about like for instance, our grandmother always referred to dressing, the turkey and the dressing instead of stuffing. Mm-hmm. And then when you read a little interesting vignette about regional differences on who says stuffing and who says dressing.
You're like, look at that.
Yeah, you're like, hey, now I know. Apparently in the South, they were slightly more etiquette conscious than the rest of the kind of uncultured nation.
So we called it
they didn't like stuffing. They thought it was too crude, so they said dressing. The rest of the nation just stuffed their turkeys.
Like, we stuff in there. we don't dress this turkey, we stuff it.
Exactly.
That's funny. No, I love the whole process. And then of course, and I had to say, I love Christmas. I'm a big fan of Christmas. I love Christmas decorations. I love all of it. But I'm really bored with everyone trying to skip Thanksgiving and go straight to Christmas in all retail places.
I think it's an important springboard to Christmas.
No, it's like, no. This is the final hurrah for the pumpkins.
Yeah.
We give them a farewell at Thanksgiving.
We need to
and
still
then
be
we go on
of sheafs of wheat.
Yes, that's what we're doing here, guys. Yeah. Like, stick to the cornucopia plan. We're on that plan until the day after.
This brings up, I have had sort of a long-standing trouble here. It's freezing.
It's so
guys,
cold.
We're turning on the heat and it makes a real weird noise now.
But I can't live without it anymore.
It's really...
Oh,
it does sound like a helicopter coming through.
It's pretty sinister in Becca's car here with the heat on.
Sorry, guys. We'll just deal with it for a minute. But what was I just saying?
You were talking about you don't like... No, it was not.
Yeah,
it was that you don't like cornucopias.
No. It mattered because I have to get this off my chest here. Cornucopias, in principle... I'm sorry about the noise.
It's something in there.
In principle, it's a fantastic idea. In actuality, I've never seen one done tastefully.
Have you never seen the one I made?
I might have to edit that statement.
I made a huge one.
I was going to say, I feel like in the vague recesses of my memory, I have, and I was like, maybe I just imagined.
When we had our shop,
it could be really cool.
I made a cornucopia.
Do you still have it?
No.
Why? Because it's a great notion.
Maybe I stopped thinking it was cool. I don't know. But it was huge. I made it out of chicken wire.
Uh-huh.
So I sculpted. This kind of thing makes me feel old because it makes me feel like, how do I have this in my resume?
Why do we not have... Because
it could be
done awesomely well.
Okay, but this is how I did it. I sculpted it out of chicken wire. There was somehow some fabric. I lined it with fabric, I think, so that it wouldn't be chicken wire on the inside.
All right.
And then I got tons and tons of raffia. Big raffia, long ribbons. Okay. And then I wrapped them in twine. Bundled.
To make a big rope. Yeah.
To make a raffia bundle rope. And then I wrapped that and glued or wired it. Probably glued
on
glue
chicken
gun
wire,
into the but I had the fabric on the inside. I think I sandwiched it all together And so it was a very large scale cornucopia.
But see,
it was like the size that you could put big
actual pumpkins in. Yeah. I don't
remember what I did put in it, and as I recall, it may have still been a little difficult to make it really look good, because I think what makes it look good is really, really rad produce.
Maybe.
So anything that's really enduring, like a gourd, just kind of doesn't quite. Mums, gourds, it's kind of like, meh, try harder. That's how it feels.
It's true. So anyway, I think that basically covers all the bases of cornucopia and our thoughts.
But things that also correlate to corn, it's important to say that I dislike candy corns.
Do you?
I do. How can you have something that is...
I never buy a candy corn, but if I eat one,
achingly too sweet.
No, but I eat one, and I'm like, I better have another one of those. But I don't ever want to eat one. But once I do, I have another one.
That's popcorn for me. I never yearn for popcorn, but once you start...
you can't stop it.
Exactly. Yeah. So then Christmas. So then I'm officially into stocking stuffers, gifts.
Oh, man.
Shopping the shop of all of those things.
I can't cope with the sound anymore. Sorry. It's
all right.
So come back to it.
I have my bags going for stocking stuffers.
I feel like you're just showing off.
No, it's my year-long motto is, when you're behind on life, just get ahead on Christmas. It's like there's always a Christmas coming for you to be getting ahead on.
It's true.
So you order up the gift wrap in the summer sometime, and you start getting warmed up with like, here's the plan. This is what I'm getting done. In the end, it'll still be chaos, but
it will.
But you will feel more prepared. I think we could do a crazy Christmas, and 7 kids is a lot of kids for Christmas. So
That's true.
it helps me to be out ahead on like cousin gifts.
But I think it's important too, especially as we're in the preparing moment of like trying to remember why it matters so much that we do it well. And
what do you want to communicate about it to your children?
Yeah.
And then everything that you're doing is a tool in that. I bought an Advent book at the Hope Center thrift store. Guys, it's a thrift store. And I just was really self-aware. It was like $1. And it was brand new. It's a brand new book in the plastic sleeve still.
Okay.
It's like $1. And I picked it up and I was like, what kind of a madman made this book? Like, who would be this crazy? And then I bought it. And I still think it's crazy. I have no solutions for why I bought this book.
What is it?
A really cute cookbook.
Okay.
Of cookies.
Okay.
Christmas cookies. And many of them look good. But the cover of the book is a really cute advent calendar where every day corresponds to a cookie recipe. And I thought, who would do this?
And then you got it.
I bought it. But I haven't
days of cookies?
I haven't yet figured out, but I don't do that. We don't bake that much cookies. We try to be strategic in making what we actually care about at Christmas time and not eating fudge otherwise. You know, we try to just do the thing we set out to mean to do instead of just eating cookies nonstop. But I don't know why I bought it, but I was trying to think of how I could do this that would not be, because I was like, well, who thinks that this doesn't require an enormous amount of preparation? Like, to just give your kids an advent calendar, like, who knows, do you have those ingredients even? I mean, like,
yeah, you'd have to really
today's surprise is another cookie recipe we're not gonna make. Not today,
That's
kids.
Hilarious.
But I think I might do some version of, with my little girls who are always wanting to make cookies, like they're really in that zone of baking achievements, you know, that I might just do some modified edition where you can pick a recipe for the week.
Right.
From the week of Advent.
Right. No,
I don't know.
Fun.
We'll see. It's very cute, which is really what
drove it.
Suckered me into it. I was like, why would I do this? This is not at all reasonable.
We'll just have to get through Thanksgiving first. I feel like Friday after Thanksgiving is when I turn to, okay, now I'm going to think about Christmas, and usually we get our tree right after that.
Friday after, yeah.
It's early this year,
Friday after Thanksgiving this year, which is the 23rd, is the day my new book releases.
What?
Yeah.
Guys,
So,
how lucky.
Guys, skip Christmas.
Black Friday.
We have something else for you this year, yes?
Black Friday holds for you.
Black Friday
A book.
is, I think they'll be doing pre-selling before then, but but that's the day.
That's exciting.
It's the one. Yeah. The book
So-
has a name too now.
Which is?
Yoo-hoo.
Okay.
It's Yoo-hoo, why you matter and how to deal with it.
Yoo-hoo with a question mark. Like
Yoo-hoo. Like you.
Y-O-U.
Y-O-U.
W-H-O.
Question
You,
mark.
Who?
You, comma, who. Although
Right.
it doesn't have a comma in it. But you, who. Who are you and such forth. So that is the
And you
name.
want to get
Anyways.
that sorted out before Christmas, who you are.
Yeah, you want to know, guys. You want to know. And I just did my final. It seems like I keep saying I just finished or I was just working on
Yeah.
it. But it has been at interludes where you get it back and you do some other things to it. And get it. So I did just finish my final.
That's pretty
Blast
exciting.
through. Yeah, and then I got out of there. This was this morning that I finished that last. Just the last bits
last
of
skim
things.
coat?
Yes, and then I popped out of that to check on the carnage that has been happening while I was doing that. So now I have
At your
much
house?
to recover from in that regard. Wow, that is so loud.
It's such a bad noise, you guys. I'm sorry.
It's almost like the car doesn't like our podcast
I
and
think
wants
it is.
to come
I
fuss
think
about it.
Well, it's funny because I feel like I'm already gearing up for trying to sort out, you know how you kind of hit the New Year's January 1, like, let's get a handle on this schedule? I feel like
The schedule or
there
everything?
Are everything, all the things. There are a few places in the year for me when that happens. One is obviously January, that's intuitive. The other one is beginning of the school year, you know, like here's a new schedule. And then the one where I finally make it all happen and I understand it and I get my head around it and I achieve it is right after spring break. And then, like, so
it's
sort of
over.
like in September, I think, here's how I'm going to do the school year schedule. In January, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to get it figured out. And then after spring break, I nail it. And I nail it for like 8 weeks until summer break.
Yeah.
And then I forget
And then we
how it
start
goes.
over.
And I feel like I'm getting my game face on for, let's try and do better this
You're
year.
entering into phase 2 of
I'm entering into phase 2 slightly early. I'm trying to get it's basically like a kind of delayed phase 1 and an early phase 2 are happening to me right now, where I just want to get my week sorted out, and I think that it's being driven a little bit by the upcoming holidays, where it's
I'll tell you what's been, because we're building this house, everything seems mythical in it. And I keep trying to really...
I went up there last night. It's amazing.
Yeah. Was it
It's
still
real
light
cool.
out when you were there?
Yeah, barely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's looking good. The things about it are awesome. One of the things is that everything is still this whole world of possibility because we have not yet made it a mess.
Yeah, it's living in the perfect land.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I have this dream that I dream about where I'm like, but I'm sure that there are ways that we could go into this preventing the real...
No mud will ever come in.
It's not really the mud that I am. It's the junkus. I hate the junkus.
Yep.
The
Yep.
stuff that borders on keeping or not keeping. Like garbage or what. Or like we have this out of control kids book situation.
Yeah, I gave you a good solution for that. You didn't take me up
I
on it.
did.
Did you?
I did. I have not done it yet, but I bought stickers.
Guys, it's
I'm
smart.
going to color code my books for but I have to think through it, but I'm thinking if I do all the series, the ones that are series, wow. Is the plural of series just series?
I think so. Series.
Series. Whatever. The ones that belong in a series, I'm going to do all together in, like, I don't know, blue or something. And then, but I'm not sure because I wanted it to be a way to help people know where to put it away.
Yeah, where it's like, go put this on the young reader's
This is a
shelf.
blue book. Yeah. Put it on the, but we have so many books, and it's not like we're going to get rid of them.
Right.
Because some of them I will get rid of. I do. I find trashed books all the time. Mm-hmm. But then on the other hand, every time I go thrift shopping, I'm also like, oh, that's a good book. I'll grab it. Even though we have it, because I know that we've probably trashed the other copy by now. I have so many readers. So
you have duplicates.
Yeah, like ballet shoes or like some of those ones that are real classic, good kids books. I think I always end up with like Rascal. That's a fun one. About the raccoon.
Okay.
My Side of the Mountain.
Oh, I hate that book.
You know what killed me is that my 5th graders that are in the same 5th grade classroom that I was in with the same teacher. It's the same space.
Yeah.
This is my 3rd and 4th child to have the same teacher in the same room. And my 3rd and 4th child to hate Tug Everlasting in the same room where I first hated Tug Everlasting. Like, and it's so funny to me that everyone's having this same phase of childhood where we despise Tug Everlasting together in the same pre-established room at Logos with a teacher, and everybody's like, I don't like this one. It's funny. It makes you feel like I was just there doing that. I know how you feel.
That's hilarious.
I think I liked My Side of the Mountain as a child.
It's
Indian in the Cupboard.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And I remember
Phantom
loving A Wrinkle in Time, except for then they got weird after that. So I never buy the whole, I always just, we have A Wrinkle in Time, but I don't go beyond that one. I'm like, I think some stuff gets odd in those ones.
It does. I remember being somewhat scandalized by it.
Yeah. And then, but there's some of those that you're just like, oh, that's a classic, grab that. Yeah. And then it's a little out of control. But I still have, Shad is just really launching his reading career, specializing in the George Washington category. He loves George. He loves George. George and the things pertaining to George. He's been reading a 4th of July Raid. Do you remember that one?
That's a great book.
I bought that one off of eBay or somewhere because I remember
shopping for it, but I never got it for our kids.
It was such a thriller as a child. And the mom's curtains.
Like we have
the mom's
sort of,
curtains.
I remember the silver, but
I think that the silver was. I feel like we need to sort of
preemptively apologize to our British listenership because it's the British are not the
good
heroes.
Guys.
No, they're coming and they're going to destroy everything, and they have to quickly go hide the silver in the woods.
And mom's curtains. It's mom's special woven curtains that they bundle all the silver up and then bury them.
In the woods,
but it's a boy. It's a boy handling that during the British.
It's all like
very
the
exciting.
redcoats are coming, and
so British listeners, this is probably not one for the annals of your library.
Might not want to do that one.
Yeah, but it's a good book, guys. Good. and then Moses has not even yet begun to read, so we have a lot of, we're going to have to stick with the books.
Readers for a long time.
And I do thin out as soon as I can. Like, I got rid of all those little girl early readers a long time ago.
Okay. Because
we don't need this
anymore.
We don't need this anymore. We'll stick to the other more fun ones. Anyways, it's a lot of books, but I love having it so that the kids can never say I've read everything or there's nothing here. I love that there's no mercy on that front. This is also something I do for Christmas. I have to go stop at our storage unit. I bring these things on myself.
Okay.
Yeah. But I have a huge bin full of just Christmas books, and I put them away all year. So then it's like December 1st when the kids come home, or sometime when you put lights up or something, then I'll have the big crate. I'll have a crate full of Christmas storybooks and stickers. Like, we get those all out for Advent.
Right.
And Christmas comics like Peanuts.
Oh, that is fun.
And there's just a lot of every time I see a Christmas anything, that's worth having.
Yeah.
Not really everything.
Oh, that's quite fun.
We minor on Santa. There's no Santa.
Here's what I've been kind of stuck on, and I feel like you're the person I should talk to about this. I have been wanting a really good wreath for my front door for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost never do a wreath because I get kind of like bored and tired of those just basic blah green ones with a pine cone wired onto the side of it. You know,
I'm talking about the Costco cedar ones.
Maybe it's just sort of like, meh. And then sometimes I put it up, but I never feel real pleased about it. And I've seen some really beautiful ones, but I would have to make them myself because it's just a whole thing. Now, if you are going to make a pretty wreath for your front door, what would you put in it? How would you do it? Where would you go? I saw a really beautiful one. It was all fresh sage and white berries, and it was really quite gorgeous, but your sage would die in no time, and it would look like a weird muddle.
There's really pretty ones that are bay leaves, because those dry, they dry still looking really, they dry flat. They dry, you know, like it goes dried. But man, I don't know. One time I was having a baby shower at my house, and I felt all of a sudden like, whoa, things do not look very seasonally cheerful in here.
Okay.
With fall.
Yeah.
I'm not sure really how I was driven to such action. But I quickly whizzed up a wreath out of what I could find.
Okay.
And it looked good in the end, which is a surprise that it looked good.
Okay.
But I had brown paper.
Okay.
You used that as the base, and I think I found some...
The base, like you wadded it into a wreath shape?
No, I think I had a wreath form, or I had a wire or something, but I wrapped it with brown, like, paper, like, so it bulked it up quite a bit, you know, like, to make it bigger.
Sure.
And then I had a rope of some kind that was involved in that. And then I had, I found some dry, because it was fall. There was some kind of, I think it might have even been hydrangeas that were dry. It was, but it was like a dry thing like that. And I stuck a bunch of those in there. And then I spray painted parts of it, like it was like gold, or I had some gold or bronze or something. Made it all kind of metallic-y and cool, like with the rope and everything. And actually ended up being quite cool. It was a good coloring, interesting thing to see. But it would really depend on the effect you're going for. Because if you really,
like a
I
Christmas
know, but
wreath.
I mean, like if you're like, the thing is that greenery wreaths are very done. So you're not going to do one that's going to stun the world with a greenery wreath. But they're very pretty greenery wreaths.
Yeah, some are better than others, and
I always want to cut down those bushes, whatever kind of bush they are that's so red this time of year, where it's just the stems, but they're like crimson.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, they only turn that, they're all down by the creek down there. There's a bunch of them, and I'm always like, I need to cut some of those, because then I would want to cut those and put them on a wreath with maybe like white pom-poms or something.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
That's where my mind goes.
Do
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to
red
cut down
branches
those bushes.
and white pom-poms.
Well, I think it could look
Sounds
good.
awesome.
Snowed upon red branches. Sounds good to me.
It does sound good.
Yeah, but I don't know. I can't really help you with your, like, I feel like I've done painted pine cones, which can be cool.
Yeah.
And I think I've done that one where I cut up an old children's book that was falling apart and did the paper, like a paper wreath with a lot of those can be kind of fun. That was inside though, not outside.
Right.
That was the same year that I did a bunch of sugarscapes. It's pretty rad it was fun. It was like a jar with a lid, but where you put sugar in it, and then we made little snow scenes out of candy.
Whoa. I don't know this.
Sounds like I'm a really extraordinary
intense.
person. It was like snowmen out of white spice drops, and like with it was really channeling that one train that we all tried to eat. That one train Christmas ornament that all of us tried to. It just looked like it was made of candy.
Made of gumdrops.
But you buy like random candies, like the green gumdrops. You can make really cute little pine trees out of them. But I stuck them all on lollipop sticks.
Okay.
So you basically you make the candy or the snowman or whatever, but then you stab that into the top of the sugar so it looks like a full snow scene with little
and it's
candy.
Inside a mason jar? What's it inside
Oh, no,
of?
it wasn't a mason jar. It was like a
Like a
bigger
hurricane
jar. Yeah,
thing?
a big jar that looks like more like a fishbowl type thing. You could look into it
interesting.
to see the little
That
scene.
does sound kind of cool.
It was actually surprisingly fun. The
I
kids.
have-
That's the kind of thing that it sounds fussy and fiddly because it is, but it's also incredibly easy. And the ratio of how much work you did to how stoked your children feel about life
Yeah.
is real good on that. That's the kind where you really get the payout.
I feel like you get gingerbread house effect without the drama.
I hate gingerbread houses. I don't hate them in theory.
I'm sure I've already said on the podcast
Gingerbread kits is like...
where I go wrong. I peel off.
Because I always wanted to be an architect.
It's like,
this
I'm
is my big
thinking
chance.
Georgian architecture.
We need gables.
Did I talk about this? I probably did. The time I tried to do a gingerbread house that involved golden sugar
Windows?
windows. Yeah.
But the gingerbread house that you buy in the kits at the grocery store. The trouble I face with those is that they're very fun for the kids to like do.
Mm-hmm.
But then who wants to keep it? Nobody wants to eat that thing. It's like the
No.
cheapest candy around. It's bad gingerbread, so there's nothing really going there. So
Yeah.
I always feel like, let's just not do that.
I think that gingerbread is a thing I don't appreciate enough as a flavor anyway. And so it's not actually good.
Well, but when you do things at Christmas, like little snowmen, at our grocery store, bulk candy is really cheap. It's a very cheap situation. But the amount of stoked your little kids will be
Yeah.
if you decided it was important to make sugar trees and snowmen and stick them all in a jar for them to admire.
Yeah.
And then you can't. I mean, it's well worth its time.
Yeah, it is. That is fun.
That is the kind of thing that, you know, like, my kids are old enough. Some of my kids are old enough now that you can hear it when it comes out and it surprises you. When, like, you know how Mom always does.
Yeah.
And you're like, Mom does not always do that.
You know what?
That happened 1.2 times.
You know what
in your whole
happens in my
childhood.
house? I'm pretty sure it's gonna be. You know how Mom always starts off strong, saying we're gonna have an advent calendar this year.
You know, Mom.
You know how we always end up opening 9 at a shot.
I'll give you the cookie advent.
It's really
book.
bad. When the kids were little, I was very diligent about advent stuff, but it's been getting more and more sparse as the years go on, and I feel really
My advent
deeply
surprises.
guilty about it.
Our kids keep wanting to throw back to the big star advent calendar that we made when they were really little, and that we quit using because it was out of control. It was really fun, but it was actually that I knit a new advent calendar. I knit the mittens. I knit 24 mittens, and then just doing 2 was too many to do. So, but the star one, we had all these little things that we would put in it, and
You cut the big star out of like plywood? Right?
Yeah, painted it silver, and it had a big front "Us, a child is born" on it, and hooks for every one of the days, and then the numbers on the hooks, and then I had all these envelopes that were oilcloth envelopes that hung on the hooks. They had little eyelets on them.
Yeah.
So they hung on the hooks. So every day you could open up the envelope and see what we were going to do. And what I did on the things inside was stuff from like the scrapbooking aisle.
This is the year I made that one out of a drawer. Remember, you made the star. We went to the scrapbooking aisle together.
So we did.
made all
I
these
got
little
all
cards.
these little things that was like a miniature Scrabble game, or like crayons. It was all stuff, and they were all very doable things. And I made, and then I'm not a believer. This is why the cookie book is so off from campus for me. I'm not a believer in planning ahead. You put what you're gonna do in it 5 minutes before the kids open it.
Right.
You know what you're committing to, because nothing is worse than we open that advent calendar. We're getting the Christmas tree today. I was like, no, we're not. I can't. I'm too busy. So I do it that way. And now in the mittens, we put clues in the mittens usually. So sometimes I'll be like, go look under your pillows. And like everybody has a new pair of socks.
Yeah.
Last year I ordered Nutcracker socks off of Amazon, and they come in like, it's like a set of Nutcracker socks, and they were in different colors. Mm-hmm. So everybody got a Nutcracker sock. This year I may look into like a gnome sock or something. I don't know. Something. And, but we'll have that, and then sometimes it will just be like some kind of a dumb clue, but the end result will be like that I put a tray of cups with eggnog in the oven or something, so like when they find it, it's a little party on a tray, or like a tray with that weird thing where if you stick Bob's candy canes into an orange, you can, if you break the hook off, you can use this candy cane as a straw for the juice in the orange, and it's a really bizarre experience, but still festive and fun, and like super sticky. It's all things like that. A lot of it is really low-key. Like, I hide a chocolate orange somewhere in the house. Or, so around this time of year, I start stashing things that will be fun things for Advent when I see them. Like, I'm like, oh, I'll grab one of those. Or we do stuff like the decorating for Christmas is in the Advent. So, like, putting up the stockings might be one of the days. Yeah. Or putting up Christmas lights.
And I would just say, again, back to the old thing I was saying about Thanksgiving, is I feel like there are easily identifiable trouble spots coming at you. Do you always lose your cool when the tree is being decorated? Do you always, like, you don't...
I still remember us having provoked Mom by, and it seemed completely unreasonable to me at that, like, where we were just like, I just don't know why that would bother her at all. But it was tinsel. And that we were throwing tinsel at the tree. Like 100,000 strings of tinsel. And we're like, forget hanging this. Let's just chuck the garbage all over the tree. And Mom was like, that's not what it's for. And I think we were really like, man, Mom. I don't remember her being bad about it. I remember her remembering her minding the like, it's just too funny.
I just mean that, like, I feel like there's the potential tense times coming up.
Oh my word, yes.
Where you bought everyone a really good present, but they didn't get you anything
Why
neat.
Doesn't anyone love me?
Or it's trying to... This is a killer. You put a lot of actual thought and effort into trying to make a fun Advent surprise that nobody paid any particular
Nobody
heed
really
to,
cared for.
or they just kind of blew right past it, and you wanted it to be a special moment.
If you're gonna do fun, like, if you have a number of kids, I was gonna say Sleeping Queens, and it's those card games.
Okay.
We have Sleeping Queens, and there's other ones like Slamwich. Something about cats.
Okay.
Whatever the case, those are really fun. It's a little box. It's not super expensive. It's a very fun group Advent kind of a gift, like a silly card game for the kids to play. That was just interjecting that hot idea. Rat-a-tat-cat. That's what it is. Okay. Rat-a-tat-cat and Sleeping Queens. Go back to what you were saying about your temptations. One of your temptations around the holiday may be that your sister interrupts you with card game recommends.
It's just all the year
but
round.
I just jumped ahead. I just jumped ahead to give us a tip. I did it.
You did it.
I just got ahead, and so. But we should wrap up anyway.
We should. We gotta go.
Finish what you were saying, though. Prepare yourself.
No, I was just saying that, like, as you're planning out Advent, or as you're planning your Thanksgiving week, or all the things that are coming up, just have a little time where you just think through, where am I likely to be a jerk?
Exactly.
And then try to come up with a plan.
It's a legitimate question.
To thwart yourself.
If you're feeling particularly bold, you could ask your husband what is the area in which he expects you to fail.
Well, but I think there's a lot of, I mean, everybody's gonna have their own set of temptations, but I think there's probably a huge temptation to loneliness during the holidays.
I'm the only one who's working here.
I'm the only one who's, or I'm the only one that doesn't have a fun family thing to go home to, or I'm, you know, like, there's all sorts of different ways in which you're going to be tempted in your own unique way. And so, are you tempted to get melancholy during the holidays? Oh, my daughter was just quoting, what movie is it? And it made me laugh a lot. I don't think I've watched it. Megamind. Where he pronounces melancholy. And I think that actually sums it up quite well. I'm just feeling a little melancholy.
I had one of the typos in my book was, instead of juggle, I had written juffle.
Juffle is when you're not juggling well.
I think juffling it sounds pretty much like what we've all done. Just not able to juffle it right now.
Or I am juffling it hardcore.
And then one of the other ones was unbelief, but I had left an E out, so it was unbelief. I liked unbelief and juffling.
I think juffling is kind of an onomatopoeia. I think we know.
I know, that's what I thought was so funny.
I think melancholy is an onomatopoeia.
We're on it. These are our tips. Use these words wisely. Until next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.
I'm a 2009 graduate of New St. Andrews College, and I'm a commercial property manager.
3 kids at Logos, 1 at home still, and I do flowers on the side out of our house. When you have these little people that you're responsible to shepherd, you realize I need to know what I'm talking about because they need to have a firm foundation and they need deep roots so that they don't get blown over and that they're ready to stand up for the truth.
I am a programmer. The language aspect of NSA is a fantastic preparation for any sort of programming.
I'm a real estate broker here in town. I think absolutely the perfect education for being in sales of really any kind.
I actually put it to a lot of great use when I was working in the political realm.
I am a pastor in Central Coast, California. Whatever vocation you take, it'll make you take that seriously because you're seeing it through the lens of the sovereignty and lordship of Christ.
To learn more, visit us online at nsa.edu.